Thank you, Cameron. Now, after a decidedly rocky debate performance last night, senior figures in the Democratic Party are now contemplating removing Joe Biden as the party's presumptive nominee and replacing him with someone else at the party's August convention. Joe Biden appeared confused at times in the debate last night. And let's take a quick look at one of those moments.
Eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
It just gets worse the more you see it, doesn't it? And we're joined now by the spokesperson for Republicans Overseas UK, Erol Morkoc. Erol, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. The dust has settled on the debate. His own supportive media platform, CNN, 67% of those there think Donald Trump won that debate. In a Daily Mail poll overnight, 68% think Biden should not stand, including 41% of his own voters in 2020. And now top donors are simply saying somebody else has got to stand, and his own advisors are saying it was painful to watch. He has to go. Erol, is there any way that Joe Biden should stay on as the president nominee, the candidate for the Democratic Party?
It's two answers to that question. On one hand, for the voters, for the sake of the country, for the sake of ethics, all of these decent reasons, no. But Joe Biden is a zombie candidate. He's being operated and manipulated by other people. And if any other candidate was switched in, they would lose the election. There's a Democrat Party inside the Democrat Party, and that's called Joe Biden. And while all the advisors and strategists are looking at this and saying, oh my God, we're going to get clobbered, they don't realize that this isn't it isn't a free market in the Democrat Party. We saw what happened with Bernie Sanders, and Hillary Clinton, how in the convention, it wasn't a free and fair election. And now the same thing's going to happen, but they have the incumbency. They have no reason to back down. They have still 46% of the country supporting them. It is a tight window, but they're going to play this out. I don't think that they're going to switch him out. I don't think that Joe Biden is going to back down. In fact, CNN just reported that the campaign at least has informed them that he will be accepting a second debate and moving forward. So also in Joe Biden's defense, not of his performance, but in a statistical sense, the incumbent almost always loses the first debate. So they can point to these losses and this and that and kind of hope that, okay, that's how it went in the first time. We still have a second one to go. So because he's a zombie candidate, he's not actually running the country. His handlers don't want the Democrat Party to win. They want to win with Joe Biden. And that's the ultimate problem that's facing Democrat voters. And a lot of those people are going to start looking for maybe RFK Jr. or even considering voting for Donald Trump as the economy and global politics situation continues to disintegrate.
But Erol, we saw an astonishing video from the Donald Trump war room. Trump's own campaign put a video out that entirely consisted of clips of Joe Biden, of him corpsing, of him not being able to remember what he was saying. Donald Trump didn't say a word in his own attack video. They were simply using footage of Joe Biden freezing up. Why would the Democratic Party want to go back for round two of this torture?
Again, they're not doing it to win an election. They're doing it to win an election with Joe Biden. And they can manipulate and change people's opinions, they feel. They have their spokesperson saying, don't believe the videos you see, they're doctored and this and that. Honestly, Joe Biden did a little bit better than I thought he would. He only completely stalled one time. Other times he just rambled incoherently. I expected him to stall 3 or 4 times. So if you know how bad Joe Biden could have been, if you'd been in that Camp David coaching session with his handlers for a week, perhaps they were actually pretty impressed and they think that he could do better. So that's where we're at. We're not running on a logic campaign. Kamala Harris even could probably do better than Joe Biden at this point. But Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, these people could very well win an election, and they're completely sidelined because there's 2 factions inside the Democrat Party, and it's not to the behest of their voters, but it is what's going to happen in November.
Can you help us try and understand that this side of the pond in Britain? Because somebody who's clearly, struggling to cope with a debate, who's struggling to know where the exit is to a stage, who's struggling to get up a set of stairs, who's struggling to sit down, sometimes struggling, it would seem, to know where he even is. How is that a credible frontman for a candidate? How does that work? I mean, the approval ratings have gone down. An odds checker, the betting odds overnight, Erol, says that only 21% chance of Joe Biden winning that election. Surely the most logical thing to do is cut your losses and go with a fresh set of boots.
Yes, in some respects, I agree. However, you would have that chaos in the election. It would look like a movement of weakness. And in the end, he won that election in 2020 by being an avatar candidate. He had the sunglasses, the ice cream cone. He never talked to anybody. This was the first time most of us had heard Joe Biden speak without a teleprompter or approved questions I can't even remember the last time. Maybe the last debate. I don't know. So the ability for them to believe they can still win this in a propaganda sense, they still have the mechanisms. They still have the hundreds of millions of dollars that have poured in there. Yes, they're losing support by rational people. Yes, big tech is starting to say, well, hang on a second. These guys are a little bit even too extreme for Hollywood and San Francisco liberals. And while that might turn on them, they still are going to play those cards out to the end because that's all they have. They're trying to win with Joe Biden again. They're not trying to win with any other candidate because another candidate would have their own opinions and also would change certain courses on things. Joe Biden does as they tell him to do. Whoever they are is up for debate. And I'm not here to make a conspiracy. I'm just saying he has an effective apparatus and team, the same people oftentimes who worked for Mr. Barack Obama who are working with Joe Biden. And these people are running the show. So that's why they won't change it. There's no reason to. They would lose if they win with Gavin Newsom. It's very weird.
It certainly is. Fascinating stuff. Thanks for trying to make it slightly more understandable. Spokesperson for Republicans Overseas UK, Erol Morkoc. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. And I'm joined now